When David's beloved little girl, Ashley, showed up at my door, I had just found out I was pregnant. Ashley's bright, youthful face was full of confident pride. She chatted freely about the intimate details of her relationship with David. The one who isn't loved is the mistress. You've held him for so many years. It's time to give him his freedom back. I have a condition causing difficulty conceiving, and getting pregnant was very difficult. After being provoked, I immediately started bleeding. The baby was lost. David rushed to the hospital as soon as he got the news. He stood by my hospital bed, crying and admitting fault. He said that Ashley was just a mistake made while drunk, and he begged me to forgive him. He also said he would send Ashley away soon and never see her again. He lied to me. He just moved Ashley to a remote location where I couldn't find her, keeping a mistress in luxury. My child was gone, but he didn't blame his beloved little girl at all. Instead, he protected her in a different way and continued their intimate life. When I got pregnant for the second time, his little girl came to find me again, big belly and all. This time she came looking for death. My child was gone. How could I let the killer get away with it? The fact that David had someone else on the side was foreshadowed long ago. The gifts he bought me were no longer the colors I liked. Not that childish, light pink that was almost laughable. He changed the restaurants we went to. The food was sweet, while I craved spicy food. He still sent me flowers, but not the lilies I loved. They became red roses. He would hide on the balcony to make calls and send messages. He would often come home late, using work as an excuse. Slowly, his clothes began to carry the scent of another woman's perfume. When I smelled a perfume on him that wasn't mine, I had suspicions. But later, I convinced myself, deluding myself, that maybe he'd just picked it up accidentally from meeting a client. I'll never forget the scene of David kneeling on the ground proposing to me. His eyes were so bright, and every expression on his face was real. We had been through so much to finally be together. I felt like the whole world could betray me, but David never would. Until that day, when I felt uncomfortable in my stomach and went to the hospital for a checkup. I told the doctor my symptoms: burning in my stomach, acid reflux, inability to eat. After examining me, the doctor found no stomach problems and suggested I see an obstetrician. The obstetrician asked me a few questions and then gave me a pregnancy test. I was pregnant. The moment I got the pregnancy report, joy filled my heart. David and I had been together for 6 years, and because of my physical condition, I hadn't been able to get pregnant. I had always thought I couldn't conceive again, and David also said it didn't matter if we couldn't have our own children. We could adopt. Now I, who thought it was unlikely to get pregnant, was pregnant. It was the child David and I had long hoped for. I took the medication to prevent miscarriage from the hospital and went to David's company, wanting to tell him the good news myself. Still a distance away, I saw David. He wasn't alone. A beautiful young woman was with him. The young woman was looking up, speaking sweetly to David, and his expression was gentle. They got into a car and left before I arrived. I called David. The call connected, and before I could speak, he spoke first. I have a client meeting tonight. I'll be home late. You don't have to wait for me. His voice was as gentle as ever. The words about being pregnant were on the tip of my tongue, but I swallowed them back for some reason. David didn't come back until 12 o'clock that night. He paused for a moment when he saw me waiting in the living room, then walked over with a smile. Didn't I tell you not to wait for me? Why didn't you listen? He bent down to hug me, and I smelled the faint perfume on him. I didn't refuse his embrace, wrapping my arms around his neck. David carried me upstairs, put me on the large bed in the bedroom, and went to the bathroom to shower. I leaned on the bed, holding the soft female long hair I had taken from David's shoulder. I found excuses for the perfume smell, saying he sat too close to someone, but what about the hair? What about the lipstick stain on his shirt collar? How could that be explained? I racked my brain trying to find reasons for David, but none fit. Then I suddenly remembered David hadn't kissed me for a long, long time. When our love was passionate, he would hold and kiss me all the way from the living room to the bedroom. He would even impatiently take off my clothes on the stairs. But how long had it been since he had shown such passion? David came out of the bathroom and naturally got into bed, but he didn't hold me like before. He lay down with his back to me. I leaned over and actively hugged him. I asked him, "Do you still love me?" His body stiffened slightly. He turned around and stroked my head. "Why ask such a silly question? Don't you know if I love you, go to sleep, it's getting late." He had even started avoiding the question. My heart was very heavy. More than that, I was afraid of losing him. He had been everywhere in my life for the past 6 years. I had become used to his presence. I couldn't imagine how terrible life would be without David. I snuggled into David's arms, holding his waist. "I'm pregnant." What David was clearly startled. There was no surprise on his face, only shock. My pregnancy scared him. What was he afraid of? My heart felt heavy, sinking to the bottom. David quickly hugged me back and kissed my forehead. "Evelyn, that's great, we're having a child, thank God." He hugged me and said many emotional things, but my heart felt cold. I knew something was wrong between us. I hoped my intuition was wrong. Unfortunately, a woman's intuition in love is comparable to Sherlock Holmes. A week later, David's little girl, Ashley, actively sought me out. Ashley was very beautiful, with delicate features, fair skin, and a face full of youthful vitality. Her eyes were shy and demure. She looked innocent. Not to mention men, even women would feel a protective instinct towards her. But this little girl, whom it was hard to dislike, spoke words that were like knives. "You're Evelyn, just as I thought. Stiff and boring. No wonder David says he finds no joy being with you, like he's living in a tomb." Ashley was very familiar with my relationship with David, recounting details as if they were treasures. I believe David must have confided in her, telling her about our marriage bit by bit. Otherwise, there's no way an outsider like Ashley could know so much. My heart ached. What did the love I thought we shared mean to David? He had long thought I was a burden, long wanted to leave me. But I had only him in my heart, dreaming of a lifetime with him. Ashley was too good at manipulating emotions. She knew I valued David more than life itself. So she specifically poked at my pain points, making me feel like I was dying. Ashley showed me bits and pieces of her time with David. That was a David I had never seen before. His eyes held stars when he looked at Ashley. He held Ashley with the same doting affection he used to show me. They were inseparable, showing affection everywhere. My heart ached unbearably, bleeding profusely. Ashley said David called her his favorite little girl. She said I shouldn't hold on to a David who didn't love me, that it was immoral. She said in the world of relationships, the one not loved is the third party, and I was that third party. I had lived this long, and it was the first time I'd seen a mistress so arrogant. The first time I was left speechless by an arrogant mistress. A child isn't a bond to maintain a relationship. Hasn't he touched you for a long time? Ashley showed me the red marks on her neck. If you hadn't clung to him, he wouldn't have slept with you, and you wouldn't have gotten pregnant. Look at you. You're not as lively and beautiful as I am. You don't have my youthful invincibility. What do you have to keep David just a child? David is kind-hearted. He can't bear to say these things to you, but I know he's wanted to say them for a long time. I'm here today because he wants me to be. Evelyn, a marriage without love is a tomb. You shouldn't trap David in a tomb. Get a divorce. David isn't heartless. He'll compensate you. Half of his fortune isn't likely, but he'll definitely make sure you're well provided for. I admit I was useless. I didn't pull her hair and slap her like a normal wife would. I didn't curse at her like a normal wife, calling her shameless. I was so enraged by Ashley that I had terrible abdominal pain and started bleeding. My child was gone. David rushed to the hospital, but I refused to see him. Losing the child was agonizing, but David's infidelity was even harder for me to accept. My child was gone because of his disloyalty to our marriage. If he didn't love me, he should have told me sooner. Although I couldn't imagine living without him, if he had told me he didn't love me, I think I would have let go. But David wasn't like that. He cheated behind my back. He complained about the unhappiness of our marriage to his mistress. He shamelessly displayed everything between us to someone else. He was too much of a bully. I was filled with hatred. David stood outside the hospital room, repeatedly saying he was sorry, but what could sorry change? Could it bring my child back? My friend Sarah heard the news and rushed to the hospital. She fiercely cursed at David outside the door. David stood there silently, letting Sarah curse him. Sarah was a lawyer. She was furious, and right in front of David, she vowed fiercely, "I'm going to make that mistress go to jail, David. Just you wait, I will definitely make her go to jail." Sarah wanted to file a lawsuit against Ashley. How could David bear that? Ignoring Sarah's obstruction, he entered the room and told me about how he met Ashley. They met at a party. Ashley was very innocent. She accidentally spilled wine on his expensive custom suit. She was saving money frugally to pay for his suit, and at first, he just thought she was simple and cute. Later, after getting drunk again, he mistook Ashley for me. "I'm sorry, Evelyn, I never intended to betray our marriage. The person I've always loved is you. I was just drunk when I got involved with her. She's so young. I couldn't bear it. So there was a second time, and a third. Evelyn, I will break up with her. I promise I will never let her appear in our lives again." David was a very proud person. I had always known that he would never waste emotion on people who didn't matter. When David and I were together back then, my parents strongly opposed us and wanted us to break up. He said he was willing to humble himself for me. He actively went to my parents and begged them to agree to us being together. It was his persistence and humility that made me commit myself without hesitation. I thought I hadn't chosen the wrong person, but today, the person I believed in was pleading for the killer who caused our child's death. I stared blankly at David, my heart bleeding again. David was probably humbling himself like this because he was afraid Sarah suing Ashley would harm his little girl, wasn't he? Did he think about the child I lost when he humbled himself like this? Even a tiger doesn't eat its cubs. How could David be so cruel to me and our child? If David hadn't come to plead, if he had let Sarah sue Ashley, I might have believed he was just drunk and made a mistake, as he said. But he lowered his proud head to apologize to protect Ashley. Ashley didn't lie. He really did have feelings for Ashley in his heart. Ashley was more important than me and my child. Ashley was right. A marriage without love is a tomb. I, the unloved one, should indeed leave. I didn't want to say a single word to David. I asked Sarah to prepare the divorce agreement. David refused to sign the divorce papers. He cheated on me behind my back with a younger woman and complained bitterly to the young woman about the unhappiness of our marriage. He wanted to escape so badly, and I was giving him the chance. But when I wanted to let David go, he refused. David adamantly refused to divorce. He went to my parents and David to persuade me. When the Zhou family went bankrupt, David was a nobody, and my parents and David thought he was marrying above his station by being with me. Now David was a business mogul, and my family's company was already on the brink of collapse. 30 years east of the river, 30 years west of the river, my parents and David tirelessly urged me not to divorce for David's investment. They even knelt and begged me not to divorce to keep me tied to David. But I really couldn't bring myself to face David calmly. Seeing him reminded me of my poor child. I would remember what Ashley said to me. I would remember that during all those days when I loved him so much, he actually disliked me in his heart. I would remember him and Ashley's antics in bed. Those images stimulated me, making me unable to sleep. David refused to let me go, and my family was also obstructing me. They didn't see how thin I had become. They didn't know my heart was pierced by 10,000 arrows. My parents said, "Evelyn, you can't be too selfish. You broke our hearts when you chose to be with David initially. Now you're not young anymore. Are you going to make us sad again?" I thought I had already defied my parents once. I had brought this upon myself by choosing such a man. This was my karma. While my parents were persuading me, David was also changing. He knelt before me, talking about our past love, how the Zhou family went bankrupt then, and he had nothing. It was I who gave him hope, gave him persistence, and gave him everything he had today. "Evelyn, I can't lose you. If I lose you, I'd rather die." He spoke so sincerely. He even sent Ashley away, showing a truly repentant attitude. Like before, he came home on time every day to have dinner with me, chat with me, tell me jokes, and go for walks with me. Nobody's perfect. There's no one in this world who doesn't make mistakes. I tried to forgive David, tried to believe he was just temporarily infatuated. We seemed to return to our past loving days. For a while, I thought he had truly changed, but later I found he started hiding when taking calls and sending messages again. I found he started going on business trips again, staying away for days at a time. even though he made enough excuses and was discreet enough behind my back. But the truth couldn't be covered up. Believing a cheating man will change is like believing the sun rising from the west. 8. David and Ashley's affair was thoroughly investigated by a private investigator. They had never broken up. David did indeed send Ashley away. He sent Ashley to another city, but it wasn't the kind of sending away I imagined. He had simply found a place for Ashley where it would be difficult for me to discover her, keeping a mistress in luxury. He bought a mansion worth hundreds of millions in that city and provided Ashley with a luxurious life. Their love had never changed because of my child's death or because I almost went crazy. The city where Ashley was settled had a branch of David's company. David used the excuse of working at the branch company to continue his lovey-dovey sweet relationship with Ashley. The private investigator showed me David and Ashley's chat history. Ashley sweetly asked David, "Darling, since you dislike Evelyn so much and feel sick seeing her, why don't you divorce her?" David replied, "The company is marital property between Evelyn and me. If we divorce, I'll have to split half of the assets with her. I don't want the company to be divided. I must ensure the company's integrity, which is why I tolerate her presence." He never genuinely repented because he loved me. His performance was just for money to keep the company he worked so hard to build. Knowing the truth, I broke down. I slit my wrists and chose death. Unfortunately, I didn't die. Sarah came to find me and discovered I was trying to kill myself. I was sent to the hospital again, and my life was saved. I was in the intensive care unit for a month before being moved out. Perhaps because I had been to the brink of death, when I saw the sunlight outside again, I wasn't as sad anymore. David wasn't there when I was discharged. He was busy with company expansion out of town. While I was in the intensive care unit fighting for my life, David just made a brief visit to the hospital and left when he couldn't see me. I think David hoped I would die. If I died, his company wouldn't be divided. If I died, he could be with his beloved Ashley without separation. Since he wanted me to die so much, how could I let him have his way? I had never thought about dividing half of his company. My child was gone, and when I was in agony, all I wanted was to divorce him. I just didn't want to see him. I had given him a chance to leave before, but David didn't take it. He used false lies to force me to stay by his side. He didn't love me, yet he wanted to trap me. David and I truly did love each other. I carefully recalled our past, remembering his helplessness when the Zhou family fell into ruin. I recalled my love at first sight for him back then. When David proposed, he solemnly said to me, "Mountains may crumble, rivers may run dry, only then will I leave you." I believed his false promise and was completely ruined. But David, promises aren't for lying. Since you said it, don't go back on your word. I was ready to let you go, but you insisted on trapping me. Well, let's see who ends up trapping whom. I recovered quickly. It's easy for a person to want to die, but not hard to want to live either. The reborn me would no longer revolve around David. I happily went shopping. Happily got beauty treatments. Happily went to nightclubs to enjoy life. I wouldn't make soup for David, wouldn't iron his clothes for him, wouldn't meticulously prepare dinner for him. And I certainly wouldn't foolishly wait for him at home. I would never initiate calls to David again, anticipating his response. I forgot David's birthday and our wedding anniversary. In contrast, David would call me frequently. He prepared gifts for my birthday and our wedding anniversary, but I didn't need them anymore. On our wedding anniversary, I returned home, and David had already been waiting for me in the living room for 4 hours. A customized gift was on the coffee table in front of him. I stumbled in, and David stood up with a grim expression. "Evelyn, do you have any idea how many times I've called you, how many messages I've sent?" I looked at him and smiled. "Something wrong. Have you forgotten what day it is?" "What day is it today?" I asked back, feigning confusion. "It's our wedding anniversary. You actually forgot." David glared at me fiercely. I said blandly, "Oh, right. We're an old married couple. What's the point of all this? Aren't you busy with work? Let's skip these meaningless rituals from now on." I didn't look at his gift and went straight upstairs. David watched my retreating back in frustration and quickly followed. I showered in the bathroom, my clothes strewn on the rug. My phone and bag were also on the rug. David picked up my phone from the floor. My phone didn't have a password. He opened my phone and saw the selfies I took with handsome guys at the nightclub. When I came out of the shower, David threw the phone down in front of me. "Evelyn, who is this man?" I answered indifferently. "Just one of the guys at the nightclub. I guess I don't know who he is." "You're a married woman. Don't you know that?" "Yeah, I know." "What about it?" I asked back, puzzled. "He just had a few drinks with me and took some photos." "Is that worth making such a fuss over?" David's face turned green with anger at my matter-of-fact reply. I added another line. "Everyone plays like this, you know, Mrs. Smith, Mrs. Johnson, Mrs. Williams. They all play like this. They all have regular guys, and they have a blast sleeping with them." "You slept with him?" David's body was trembling. "No way, I'm not that kind of person. I think men who have slept with other women are dirty." David knew I loved him deeply, and he also knew I was a germaphobe. I certainly wouldn't touch men at a nightclub. He just didn't realize that he was also a man who had slept with other women. And I found him dirty too. At least the men at the nightclub were doing it for a living. That was their profession. But David, he cheated within our marriage. He was actually dirtier and more disgusting than the men at the nightclub. David didn't catch my hidden meaning. He warned me. "Evelyn, if you dare to be with other men behind my back, don't blame me for being ruthless." "How can you be ruthless? Didn't you also get involved with other women and kill our child?" I stared at him, word by word. "Didn't I forgive you already? What else do you want?" "Are you taking revenge on me?" He glared at me fiercely. "No, how could I take revenge on you? I was just too lonely staying at home." I moved away from him a little. "You don't know that kind of loneliness when you're alone. I think about our child. If our child were alive, they'd be 1 year old by now, right? But they became a bloody mess. And it was your beloved little girl who killed them." I didn't say that last sentence, letting him fill in the blanks himself. David knew I had attempted suicide. He knew I couldn't handle stress. If he wanted a divorce, he could easily bring it up now, and I would still agree. But he didn't. His eyes red, he sat down by the bed. "Evelyn, let's have another child." I didn't know how David could say he wanted a child. His little girl outside, Ashley, was already pregnant. He already had a love child with Ashley. Given that, why would he still want to have a child with me? Didn't he complain to Ashley about how boring I was and that he had no feelings for me? Then why was he still thinking about having a child with me? I couldn't understand David's intentions, but I would absolutely not have a child with him. Seeing him made me sick. I refused David's request, citing poor health. "There's plenty of time ahead. Let's let having a child happen naturally." Perhaps worried that I would cheat on him with other men like he did, David spent a lot more time at home than before. He hadn't seen his little girl in a month. His little girl was very anxious, calling and messaging him countless times. Ashley was genuinely desperate. After all, she had an improper status. No matter how innocent and naive she appeared, she knew that a mistress was not presentable. As long as she lost David's favor, she would have nothing. Having been doted on intensely by David, Ashley had enjoyed the luxurious life of the upper class. She was absolutely unwilling to give it up. Ashley was convinced that I was behind it, and she began arranging for people to follow me. She tried to capture evidence unfavorable to me, to make David divorce me. What Ashley didn't know was, since she could be a mistress and snatch David from me, there would naturally be other women who would rise up just like her. A cheating man is worse than a dog. David had a new favorite, loving her just as fiercely as he initially loved Ashley. David staying by my side wasn't because of me. He had lost interest in me. Just as he said to Ashley, I was worn out, dry and boring. He was only keeping me for the sake of the company. And I had been living more comfortably recently, caring less and less about him. David was angry that I didn't take him seriously. He was busy with company work. Busy dealing with his pregnant little girl, Ashley, and also trying to prevent me from being cheated on. Sarah and I were having a fun party at a nightclub. It was very lively. There were over a dozen tall, long-legged, good-looking young men. Ashley had been watching me and sent photos and video of us having fun to David. David was having dinner with a client, but after seeing the video, he threw down his fork and rushed to the nightclub. He hurried into the nightclub, walked through the corridor, and a figure suddenly darted out from around a corner. Just like that, she happened to bump into David. The woman lay on the ground, frowning and calling out in a sweet voice that she was in pain. David stood there, looking down at the young girl lying on the ground. Seeing the girl's face clearly, surprise flickered in his eyes. He quickly reached out and helped her up. David didn't come to disrupt my fun party at the nightclub. He took the girl with a sprained ankle to the hospital. The girl David bumped into was named Lily. She was 20 and looked about 70 or 80% like I did when I was 20. Lily didn't just look like me at 20, she was also as innocent as I was. She trusted David as a good person and told him everything, including her family and her life. Lily's original family was terrible. Her father was a gambler. Her mother was weak and easily bullied. Lily was not favored at home. To support her younger brother's education, she was forced to work after graduating from high school. The nightclub was where she worked. She was a server delivering drinks. Because Lily was pretty, many customers would touch her inappropriately. Lily bumping into David was because a customer almost groped her while she was delivering drinks. David felt sorry for Lily. He liked her naivete. He liked her deer-like eyes. He found a place for Lily to stay. At first, he just dropped by to see Lily when he had time, but later it became an everyday visit. Lily was very quiet. She was from a poor family. She didn't need a luxurious lifestyle. She planted flowers and plants in the villa David arranged for her. She cleaned the house herself. When David came over, she would prepare delicious meals for him. She was obedient to David in every way, and her adoration for David was like mine used to be. Her eyes were full of stars when she looked at David. She said David was her whole life. She wasn't competitive or jealous. She knew David had a wife and knew David had Ashley. She showed no anger or jealousy, treating David with the same kindness and happiness as before. Lily's calm and simple demeanor made David like her more and more. On Valentine's night, David stayed at Lily's place. He rolled around on the big bed, holding Lily. He called out Lily's name over and over, "Lily, Lily, my Lily." Because of Lily, David completely ignored his little girl, Ashley. He used to watch the stars with Ashley and set off fireworks for Ashley on the beach. He used to juggle celebrating Valentine's Day with both me and Ashley. He never forgot Ashley's birthday. He would prepare a customized gift in advance. Because of Lily, David forgot to send Ashley a Valentine's Day gift. Pregnant Ashley waited all night in vain. David never showed up. The little girl who had always been doted on intensely was very angry. Ashley called David to question him. She forgot her status. David's lawful wife, according to the marriage certificate, didn't question David about why he didn't give me a gift. Where did she, a mistress, get the right? Ashley forgot her naivete, forgot her pure and innocent persona. She yelled at David over the phone. "I'm pregnant, and you're ignoring me, David. Don't you think about our child?" David still had some feelings for Ashley. He went to see Ashley for the sake of the child. Pregnant Ashley no longer had her initial fresh and vibrant look. Her figure had changed, and her face had grown spots. Even the thickest foundation couldn't cover her spots. Seeing Ashley heavily made up, David was very unhappy. "You're pregnant. Why are you wearing makeup? Don't you know it's bad for the baby?" "Who am I wearing makeup for? Don't you know women adorn themselves for the one who pleases them?" Ashley, who had carefully dressed up, couldn't accept being spoken to like this by David. She immediately got into a fight with David. David didn't indulge her. Without a single comforting word, he slammed the door and left. He completely ignored the heartbroken Ashley with her big belly. See, that's karma. The love Ashley spoke of so spiritedly when she came to see me originally was nothing more than this. Ashley always thought I was the one who made David change his mind and distance himself from her. She arranged for people to watch me, constantly trying to find out my every move. Ashley knew all about David and Lily's intimate daily life, including sleeping together. Watching the video of David and Lily's intense intimacy, hearing him call out Lily's name repeatedly, Ashley gritted her teeth in hatred. She thought the Lily David was calling was me, Evelyn. David liked her naivete, and Ashley was indeed naive. She thought the private investigator she hired would only work for her, not knowing that I had simply paid an extra sum, and the private investigator became my dog. A mistress is always not presentable. Ashley wanted to climb up the social ladder with her child. She could no longer tolerate David's coldness towards her, could no longer tolerate David and me having a reconciliation. Ashley had me thoroughly investigated. She knew I was sick. Because my child was killed by her, I became ill. I was so provoked by her and David's affair that I almost died from attempting suicide. Deep down, Ashley wanted me to die. After all, only if I died could she legitimately take my place. Now, I wasn't dying, I was thriving. I had even somehow gotten David to turn back to me. Ashley was unwilling. She wasn't as simple as she appeared. She was vicious and cruel-hearted. Ashley thought that if I died, everything would be over. David would return to her side, and they, a family of 3, would live happily ever after. She began planning to deal with me. I couldn't handle stress. I had lost my child because of David's infidelity and her actions, and later I almost died. If I were to find out that David not only hadn't broken up with her, but also got her pregnant, I would definitely break down and choose death again. Ashley's plan was well calculated. After careful consideration, she sought me out. I went to meet Ashley. Ashley chose a remote location. The nearest emergency hospital was 40 to 50 kilometers away. Ashley had planned very well. She thought that I would be so provoked as to cause medical episode by her and would definitely not make it in time for medical help. I arrived late, 2 hours after Ashley had been waiting for me. Ashley's face was pale with impatience from waiting. Seeing me appear, she stood up with her clumsy belly. Evelyn, long time no see. She was as malicious as the first time she saw me, deliberately showing me her big belly. I sat down calmly. What do you want with me? Aren't you curious about my belly? Not curious. This is David and my child. 8 months along, I've never left David. I widened my eyes in a coordinated manner. What did you say? Your child is gone. When you were in the hospital feeling like you were dying, David and I were together the whole time. Ashley smiled triumphantly. David hasn't loved you for a long time. He loves me. Do you understand? He actually lied to me. He. I difficulty placed my hand on my chest, looking as if I couldn't catch my breath. Seeing me like this, Ashley thought I was having an episode. After all, her private investigator said I had been taking medication. She became more aggressive. Evelyn, you are so pathetic. David isn't staying by your side because he loves you. He's not divorcing you because he doesn't want to split his assets with you. Look at you. You've been with him for so many years, and he's so stingy he doesn't want to give you a single penny. But I'm different. She proudly showed me the jewelry she was wearing. These are limited edition. I have a lot of jewelry like this these past few years. I've received gifts from David every holiday. And what do you have, you pathetic, worn-out wife? Your child is dead. You can't get pregnant. You're just pitifully occupying the position of Mrs. Joe. If I were you, I'd rather die than live this pathetic life. I picked up the tea in front of me and splashed it on Ashley's face, then, as she had hoped, overturned the table. Ashley wiped the tea from her face, and a triumphant smile flickered across her face as she looked at me, seemingly about to collapse. She thought I would fall down the next second. But I didn't fall. After overturning the table, I sat up straight. I looked at Ashley with a smile and took out my phone. Want to see me collapse? You're probably going to be disappointed. I've died in front of you once. How could I make the same mistake again? You're okay. Of course. Why wouldn't I be? Shouldn't you be the one who's not okay? You keep saying David loves you so much. Now let me show you how much David loves you. I took out my phone and displayed the video and photos of David and Lily. Ashley looked at the intimate videos and photos in disbelief. How is this possible? Who is this? Why aren't you jealous or angry? Why would I be jealous or angry? Cheating men are hated even by dogs. Don't you find it disgusting keeping him? I enjoyed watching Ashley's pale face. Look at you now, your face full of freckles, your body bloated. Do you have Lily's beauty? Do you have Lily's understanding nature? Ashley subconsciously wiped her face. I continued maliciously, Lily is pregnant too. What, she's pregnant? You actually tolerate her being pregnant. Why not? Didn't you, this shameless thing, also get pregnant? If you can get pregnant, why can't Lily? You knew David was cheating, and you're not angry. Why should I be angry? Don't you love him? You couldn't tolerate me back then. Why can you tolerate Lily? Lily didn't kill my child, but you did, didn't you, murderer? How can you live so peacefully? I looked at Ashley, word by word. My child is dead. Why should your child live? I'm going to make your child die to balance the scales for my child. Seeing me stare at her with a distorted, vicious expression, Ashley subconsciously covered her belly and backed away. She was guilty. She knew what she had done. She was afraid I would hurt the baby in her belly. Ashley's spirited demeanor from when she arrived had disappeared. She fled in panic. I watched her hurry downstairs and leave with her clumsy belly. I silently counted the numbers in my heart. 1, 2, 3, 4. When I counted to 10, there was an earth-shattering crash outside, accompanied by heart-wrenching screams. Ah! As Ashley hurried away, she slipped on the stairs and fell down. Just her luck, her belly landed on a sharp object placed downstairs. Her big belly was pierced through, and the baby was naturally gone. Not only was the baby gone, but her uterus also had to be removed. After barely surviving in the hospital, Ashley woke up screaming heart-wrenchingly, demanding to see David, screaming for the police. She said this was all my doing, that I had harmed her. But before she could call the police came looking for her. Ashley had no evidence that I had planned it, but there was clear evidence that I had been provoked by her and had of fainting and getting sick. I had phone records of Ashley contacting me to meet, and I recorded the entire conversation where she showed off her pregnancy and spoke about her intimate relationship with David. The sound of me overturning the table and collapsing was earth-shattering. She couldn't deny it. A vicious woman who had lost her uterus and couldn't have children, with a face full of spots. Why would David stick up for her? He would avoid like the plague. Not only did he not care about Ashley, this abandoned piece, but he also had no time to care about me, his wife in the intensive care unit. Something had happened to David's company. Important company secrets were leaked, leading to mistakes in several major deals. These weren't minor mistakes, they were fatal. David was now focused entirely on the company, not even paying attention to Lily, whom he liked. I had been in the intensive care unit for a month because I was provoked. A month later, Sarah picked me up from the hospital. The day I was discharged was the day Ashley was indicted for intentional homicide. I went to court as a witness to testify about Ashley's deranged actions. She had killed my child 2 years ago, and now she wanted to repeat the old trick to kill me. The private investigator Ashley hired had confessed everything. Ashley was found guilty of intentional homicide. Imprisonment awaited her. Ashley's fate was set in stone. I stopped paying attention to her. I took a divorce agreement to David's company. Sarah came with me. David was yelling on the phone in the CEO's office. When Sarah and I pushed the door open, he froze. "Evelyn, why are you here? Have you recovered?" "Thanks to you, I didn't die." I smiled and invited Sarah to sit down. "I'm here to talk about the divorce." "Divorce? Why divorce? Why not divorce David? Don't tell me you cheated twice and still think you're a sought-after catch." Sarah sneered. "From the day you cheated with Ashley, in Evelyn's heart, you've been a piece of garbage." "A piece of garbage who would kill his own child for a mistress," I added. "You hate me that much." "Otherwise, David, I gave you a chance, but you refused to divorce for the company. Now, it's not up to you. You'll divorce whether you want to or not." "Can we postpone, Evelyn? My company is currently—" "No," I refused David emotionlessly. "I want half of the company. Agree and sign, or I'll sue." "Evelyn, how can you be so cruel? You have no right to call me cruel. Even a tiger doesn't eat its cubs." David's face was pale. He still wanted to fight like a cornered animal, but I would no longer give him a chance. The news of my filing for divorce was reported by the media. The fact that David had a mistress and an illegitimate child while married and let the mistress cause trouble at home, leading to the death of my child and almost killing me, became public knowledge. His company's stock price plummeted. I insisted on taking half of the equity. David had no choice. The company was marital property, and moreover, he was the cheating party, the party at fault. The court's judgment was fair. David had no right or reason to object. After I took half of the equity, I quickly sold it. David's company was reeling, and the only path left was bankruptcy. 2 years later, I got married. My husband was the puppy-like young boyfriend I met at the nightclub. The puppy-like young boyfriend was the heir to the Sterling family fortune, Christopher. I had mistaken him for a nightclub gigolo. The puppy-like young boyfriend pursued me fiercely. After being betrayed by David, I no longer believed in love. I told the puppy-like young boyfriend, "If you can avenge my dead child and make David go bankrupt, I'll marry you." Christopher didn't disappoint me. He found a woman who looked 80% like me to approach David. The leak of David's company secrets was Lily's doing. Christopher fulfilled his promise, but I still didn't believe him. What virtue or ability did I, a destitute pawn, have to be favored by the heir to the sterling family fortune? Christopher didn't pressure me. He spent 2 years getting me to accept him and willingly walk into the wedding chapel. He gave me a grand wedding. A month after the wedding, I was pregnant. During my 6-month prenatal checkup, I happened to run into David handing out flyers on the street. The former CEO looked destitute, unshaven, and aged by decades. As he placed a flyer on our car door handle, Christopher came out, his arm around my pregnant belly. David saw me, froze for a moment, then his eyes blazed with anger. "You cheated on me while married, Evelyn. You actually cheated on me." I smiled at the disheveled David. "I'm not like you, I wouldn't be so shameless." Christopher opened the car door and helped me in. He looked at David and curled his lip. "She's right, she's been hurt before. She wouldn't be as shameless as you to cheat while married." Christopher paused, but I did set my sights on her while she was married. "So I used all my power to get her, including making you go bankrupt and lose everything." As our car drove away, David slumped to the ground, mumbling, I loved you, I just made the mistake every man makes. If I had known you were so malicious and schemed against me, I would have kicked you out long ago. I really regret it." David did indeed regret it. His regret wasn't because he cheated and betrayed me. He regretted not kicking me out immediately back then. To this day, he still hasn't realized his own mistakes. I just found it laughable. The nightmare-like 6 years were over. A beautiful future awaited me. I was thankful I left him. I was thankful I still had the strength to find the person I loved when I left him.